like, hey, how are you? And he was like, good. And I was like, hey, do you want to get coffee in between services? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so I was like, great. And I go, so I don't think we should see each other anymore. And the look on his face.
Just like went from smiling happy to all of a sudden.
Like I felt like I told him Santa Claus wasn't real.
Like, where'd this come from?
He cried.
It was just out of nowhere. It was like, so I think we need to just be friends. And then, so I started getting emotional, and
I don't handle emotion well. He's like, I don't understand why this keeps happening to me. And it just made me feel worse as a person. And then I grabbed my coffee and I got up and I left.
Left me sitting there, crying my eyes out.
I did.
So when we left off, Shaunta left me brokenhearted at a table outside of Starbucks. Crying in between services on a Sunday morning. How about that for being specific? So, I remember just being very hurt and stuff, and it was a couple days, I reached out to you and said, hey, can we get together? I would just like to talk about this more, because we didn't have a chance to really talk and discuss why.
I didn't want
fully.
to.
But that's something that you should probably do, right? Especially when you're friends and stuff, you need to be able to establish the why of things.
Right.
And so we met up at a Panera. I was studying for to wrap up some stuff with my master's, I think. Or no, that was before. Anyways, we met at Panera, and we sat down to talk. And I remember asking you why you had, and you were a little more uncertain about,
it was
like,
more vague more than anything.
Yeah.
Like I just told him like I didn't feel a spark between the two of us.
And I got a little heated, which if those of you guys who know me, I am not a heated, like, high-low person. I'm pretty stable.
He's very stable.
And I got just this heated, just like, and I remember getting a little, not stern, but maybe stern.
Yeah, he got a little stern
about
with me.
how that yes, you want that spark, but what is a spark? A lot of times that spark comes from developing relationship and being together. And then also, I remember telling you very specifically, you do not break up with somebody in that way.
Yeah.
Like, that is not how you do it. You ruin friendships and you ruin relationships.
Okay.
It could have.
It really could have.
And
but
then
what
we wouldn't have.
I know.
Yes.
But what really made me think is he said it's a choice. Like, you're choosing to be with someone, you're choosing to get to know them, and you're choosing to allow yourself to be with a person.
Because a spark is something that will ebb and flow. Like, I'm always going to have a spark for you. Always. There's times that it's really high, and there's times where it's more
really
because of there's work and life and things going on, and it's a choice to pursue, to continue, to not rekindle that spark, but to focus on it more.
Yeah.
Because life is life.
Life is busy.
Yeah, and I remember saying that, and there was something about that stood out to you.
Well, it was also another side of Caleb that I never had got to see, and I was like, whoa. I was like taken back, but like in a way where it was kind of like attractive. Because he very much is a very gentle soul. He's very sweet, very calm, and he was very stern, and I've never seen that side, nor do I see that side since we've been married, unless I'm doing something like moving a dresser 8 months pregnant. But you know what I mean. But he also.
And are you going to move it again?
No, I won't move it. He got so mad.
He's more stern, not
he actually doesn't get mad. I probably get mad way more than he does. Yeah, I do. But no, it was just a completely different side of him where I actually got to see, like, I don't want to say an adult Caleb, but I can see like a Caleb who would be in a relationship, if that made sense. Like, I completely saw a different side of him, and it really made me, one, respect him more, two, find him a little bit more attractive, and three, figure out if I was actually making a mistake or not. But one thing that I I really wasn't ready in that time. You know, I had to kind of do some self-reflecting, and a lot of that happened in this like span of time where
it was about a month.
It was about a month and a half of, you know, me trying to figure out, you know, if I really wanted to be with Caleb, because I knew he was a great guy. I knew he loved the Lord. I knew that like if we were together, that was it. Like I remember just like, I told him later on, I was like, I knew if we dated, we would end up getting married. And I just kind of had to just like allow myself to pray about it, fast about it, you know, talk to some, you know, really close family and friends about it, and just be like, you know, did I make a mistake? And I think that's,
it was during this time also, because obviously the way it ended, you were hoping it would kind of just go back to us being friends. And obviously when your feelings are hurt in that way, there's going to be some sort of break and separation. Yeah, like, and so I was working at the school still, at the church, and normally I'd go up during lunch and when I could, and sit down and talk, or
during his break,
during my prep time, go up for a few minutes and just sit down and talk and do different things, and go up when I get my mail and stuff. And then now with that, I would go up and get my mail, and it would just be like, just a quick like, hi, grab my mail and leave, and not see her that day. And then, you know, the next day I'd see her in the morning, and it just, you know, just kind of a little wave or something, or smile, or just keep walking or something like that. Because obviously I was so hurt at the time that the only way that I could process my hurting heart was to put up a wall. That was kind of part, you know. And so it was during that time, there was a Thanksgiving that happened and things, and we had a friend whose birthday party came up after that. Yeah. And we went mini golfing, all of us together, and I remember that was the first time that we actually really maybe talked more than just a couple words, and it was like, okay, we can get to be friends again. Maybe not the same as it was, but getting close again.
No. Fireworks.
Jinx.
But no, it was during our friend's birthday that like he was able to like realize, okay, we could be friends. And it actually took me during that time to be like, dang, I miss him. And it really made me, stop it. It really made me like think like I didn't just lose out on like a really great guy, but I missed out on like a friend. Like he actually became one of my best friends just during the time of us working so close together, doing ministry so close together, that we became really close. And seeing him go through some like trials with his family and just kind of just being there for them, we became really close friends. And so not only did I miss out on our relationship, but I missed out on our friendship. And I felt like I really lost a really great friend. And so I realized like that's the kind of guy I want to be with. Someone who's going to be my friend first through it all. And that's what Caleb was. He was my friend first. And I love him, but you know, I respect him more than anything. And that's because we're friends first before anything. And I think that's going to help us in our marriage, because
well, it does.
It does help us because we're able to communicate on another level where it's not like, I don't want to hurt your feelings because one, you're my friend and I know, but two, like I'm not going to hurt your feelings because I love you, and our love is deeper than the surface level love. Yeah. And so with that, like I just kind of was praying about it, and I remember it was like a week before his Christmas break, me talking to my friend Angela again and being like, Angela, I think I made a mistake. And she was like, with what? And I was like, Caleb. And then she was just like, oh yes, I had been praying that you would change your mind and you would come to your senses. She was like, go tell him. Go tell him now. You have to go tell him. And I was like, I can't tell him. I can't tell him. But like,
should have just asked me to coffee.
Right. But I did like start like kind of just like talking to him a little bit more. Like I would be walking down, you know, the church hall, and I would peek my head into his classroom and like talk to him for a little bit, or if he was doing something, just making sure that I was like saying hi to him. And like I don't know if he ever thought anything of it.
Well, while this was happening, you would pop your head in and stuff. The teacher next door to me, Alyssa Love, she was a good friend of mine, and she would pop her head around the corner the second we leave, and she's like, that's just wanting to be friends. Yeah. And I'm just like, yep, she just wants to be friends. And so that was all it was for me. And she was like, So yeah. Alyssa,
See, girls know these things. Guys are a little clueless.
We are.
But, so I decided just to write him a letter, just kind of explaining myself, explaining my feelings, and asking for another try. So this is our third.
This was our third try. And so what was happening with me that week is we were doing a Secret Santa. So each morning there was a little gift left on my desk in my classroom. And so, you know, it's like, oh, here's some candy, here's a movie card, here's a mug, here's some. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And so the last day before Christmas break, it's a minimum day. It's going to be super fast. I go in and there's a present on my desk.
Okay, so about this. So Thursday hits and I was like, okay, I'm going to write him a letter, but I'm not just going to leave a letter on his desk. So I was like, it's Christmas time. Like, I'm going to give him a gift. So I got a candle. I got some socks. I don't remember what else I put in there. And then I put the note on top, and then I did the box, and then I put it on his... Oh, there, it was a scarf. So what I was thinking was, okay, he's about to go on his Christmas break. I'm going to leave this on his desk Thursday night because that's my last day of work. Friday he'll come in, he'll see it, he'll read the note. If he doesn't feel the same way about me, he'll let me know, and then he'll be gone for 2 weeks. I won't see him for 2 weeks. I have enough time to watch sappy movies, eat chocolate, cry my heart out, and then the new year will hit, and then it's a new year, new me. Like, I had it completely thought through because I was like, I cannot have rejection happen. Like, that's just not going to be a thing that I can deal with. And so Thursday hits and I'm like waiting for him to leave, and he was like waiting, I don't know, because we also had Bible study that night. And so we were like, I was waiting for him to leave so I could put the gift on his desk so that I can just leave, go to Bible study, go home. And so he was waiting around. It was like 6 o'clock and I was like, why hasn't this man left yet? And so finally he leaves and I run, I open his classroom, put it on his desk, leave, and then I leave. And so I was like, okay.
So I was grading finals. That's why I didn't leave, right? Teacher, finals, Christmas break, all that. And so end of the school day came on Friday, and my friend Mike Conklin came in. We were talking, kind of wrap up the year, ready for Christmas break, all that. And in walks our principal, Kelvin Jackson, and he's like, hey, I'm your Secret Santa. Here's this mug. And it had like my favorite candy in it and all these different things. And I was like, oh, awesome. Look at it and everything. And then I looked at the desk. I'm like, what's this present from then? And so I open it up and like, oh, it's all these things and stuff. And I opened the letter, and I remember opening the letter, like it didn't say any name on the outside or anything like that. It just said to Caleb. And I just almost had this, there was a little premonition almost, like the second I opened it up, I saw the handwriting, and I didn't know your handwriting at the time. But I just had this, I don't know, almost had a feeling. And I looked at the end of it and it said Shaunta, and I was like, whoa. So I sat down to read, and I'm sitting here reading this letter, which was saying some beautiful things and just talking about, kind of where you were in your headspace and things that you were having to work through, and then if we wanted to give it another try. And I was just like reading it, and my friend Mike was like, is it a good letter? I'm like, I think so. He's like, is it gonna be okay? I'm like, I think so. And so I you know, processing and all that, and so I go and I'm like thinking about it, and so I decided to text you back about, I think it was like 2:30 or something by that time.
Yeah.
I decided to text you back and say, I got your letter. I really want to talk. Can we get together for coffee and kind of talk it through? So that's like 2:30. What was going on your end?
Okay, so it's very funny. I don't know like what's wrong with me, but I calculate a lot of stuff. Like my mind's always going, it's very analytical. So it's like the morning I wake up and I'm like, okay, you know, it's on his desk. He probably won't have time to look at it in the morning. So then I know it's a shortened day. So by noon, like he should be able to have like maybe some free time, and he'll be able to look at it between noon and 1. So then I'm like checking my phone to see, okay, he hasn't looked at it. No text, no nothing. And then it's like 2:20 or whatever. And like, I guess I was like on my phone too much. Then my phone dies and I'm like, ah, but I'm not at home. I don't have a charger with me. So I literally am just like gone from home running errands. And like, I don't think I got back to you until like 4.
It was like 4 something.
4 something, and being like, I'm so sorry my phone died. But yeah, let me know when you would want to get coffee and we could go get coffee or whatever. And he had a staff dinner. And so he was like, well, we can meet up tonight after the staff dinner. We'll be done at such and such time. And I was like, great. So then we like planned to meet up that night, and I was just like driving to Starbucks, and I was like, Lord, please let this go like how you want it to go, God. And I was like, just like let me know that if I walk in and he smiles, everything's gonna be okay. Because
for a month and a half, I
he never really smiled.
Like I'd smile, but not an actual.
It wasn't
smile.
like his like Caleb smile. It was more of a cordial smile, which is very different.
Yeah. So I was sitting in Starbucks. I had sent that text at 2:30. I didn't hear from her until like 4:30. I'm like, okay, is she really serious? And then she got back to me. I'm like, okay. We had coffee. I was sitting there waiting. There was traffic. You weren't getting there on like right away. So I was feeling like, what is it? And then you walked through the door and I looked up and saw you and I smiled. And she smiled right away because I had smiled because I'd seen her. All that.
We were smiling.
And we sat down and just started to talk. You didn't open up fully right away, but just kind of the shell cracked a little bit so that I could really see really the inner you,
right.
And you could actually start opening up to me,
right?
And it was fireworks, and it was on that we kind of began again, and that's the whole nother. I feel like that's a whole nother phase leading into everything else. But
right.
It was, if anything, from this story, which many people have heard our story and been blessed by it. But I believe if you learn anything from a story, it's that number one, it's being friends first is a key to any relationship.
Yeah.
Too many people jump in and they get their feelings in, and then when that ebb and flow, and you don't have a foundation of the Lord, you don't have a foundation of friendship, you don't have that. Second one is learning how to be open and trust somebody, and to do that, you really need to know yourself.
Yeah. And that's what it took. Like, you know, as much as I was listening to my friends in my head, like I really had to just stop listening to them and just being like, what's going to make me happy? Who's going to make me happy? You know, can I see myself being in a relationship with Caleb? And I could, you know, I think our relationships match very well, especially after he calmed down from, you know, all of his history. But even with that, like, you know, it wasn't like some switch where, you know, just because he was done with his master's class that he, you know, just stopped.
I still have history books in the house, though.
He does, and I don't mind, you know. I mean, there now, like, I appreciate, you know, that part of him because it's not like anyone else. But, I mean, it also just took me realizing, like, you know, you can't let the opinions of others dictate how you're going to live your life, because then you're always going to be, you know, doing your life based on what other people think. And that's not your life. That's the life that you think other people want for you. And so when I finally made the decision just to, you know, pursue Caleb, it turned out really well.
You had to chase me.
I mean, kind of. I just kind of had to tell you how I felt, and then you were like, yes. So it wasn't a real chase. It wasn't like you were like, well, you're going to have to prove yourself that you really wanted to be with me.
Our downstairs neighbor.
Our downstairs neighbor. I told you we live in an apartment,
So I guess from this whole story, hopefully you see that relationships, life can be very complicated,
but simple at the same time, if you allow them to be.
Yes.
So, have a good day.
Good week.
And God bless.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye.